This video is brought to you by my $5 or more patrons at patreon.com/AlexHeitz. I'd like to thank Manchester Pictures, Identitech, Steve Aldersley, Anthony Coleman, David Dockery, Aubrey Coper, Joe Brown, Mason Frost, Andres Glacial, and Biff C for sponsoring this video, supporting the Patreon, the channel, me and my family, encouraging all this nonsense. Thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoy. Welcome back. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? I hope you're well. I've had like a messed up shoulder and neck for like 2 days, so I can barely move, and I'm in some amount of pain, but I have severely medicated myself. I took 5 oxycodons today. Oxycodons? Not really. Although we do have some in the medicine cabinet from when my wife got her wisdom teeth taken out and she didn't use them all. So if I want to just slam some oxy, I could, but I won't. Today we are going to be sober to fully appreciate Peng. Debut studio album from Stereolab, a band we are going to do the first 6 albums for, I believe. Let me look real quick. Peng, Transient Radio Noise, Mars, Emperor, Dots and Loops, and then Cobra. Maybe other ones down the road. We kind of play it by ear, because when I did David Bowie, I think I had planned for 9, and I ended up doing like 12. So I added 3 extra albums during that binge. So we're alternating right now between Stereolab and Led Zeppelin. So I wouldn't be surprised if we tack on like 1 extra from each band, because sometimes that's just how it works. Anyway. This is the debut. I've heard, I think 3 of these tracks, at least 2, because I was kind of sampling them to get a taste of Stereolab at one point. I think someone had recommended it in a stream. It's like, check out Peng. Or it may have been when we were doing our playlist streams. I can't quite recall. But I like the first 2 tracks. They're interesting. I don't fully remember them. But I think that's all I've heard is the first couple. So experimental pop, indie pop, 47 minutes, came out in 1992, the year I was born. I think we're just going to jump right in, guys. Not a whole lot to say. I know this album doesn't get talked about a ton, but we got to start somewhere, right? I like to learn about bands and artists kind of chronologically, you know? So, Super Falling Star. Let's begin. Good stuff. Very dreamy, reverby. You guys know that's all right up my alley. Very like calm and restrained. It kind of has, what's her name? I don't know how to pronounce her name. Sometimes known as Sadie, or the French female kind of lead co-founder along with Tim Gain. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I apologize. It's like Laetitia. I don't know how to say that. She has like a voice very similar to like Nico. It kind of comes across in like a twee way, sort of like Belle and Sebastian vocals. Kind of like reminds me a bit of the opening on Merriweather Post Pavilion. I think that's what it's called. Kind of Animal Collective sound. I dig it. Let's keep going. Orgiastic. Very My Bloody Valentine, but a little more subdued, I suppose. Not a favorite, but it was fine. It was okay. Just very one note, I suppose. Peng 33. This is really bizarre because it's like, it sounds like Nico singing over like 90s pop, but sounds like MBV. Bizarre. It's not bad. It's just not really like necessarily impressive or like striking me in a certain way right now. But who knows? Maybe the next tracks will. But it's been okay so far. K stars. I dug that one. Really interesting personality to it. Like I got a European vibe to it. I don't know how else to explain it. Like almost like a fantasy or folklore kind of like just I guess folk is how you distill it down. But I really like the mood, and it just set a cool tone. I mean, it's like right now it's beginning of October, so like I'm kind of getting into like the autumnal mood, you know, and that just kind of that hit pretty good. I like that. Perversion. Kind of like, was it Orgiastic? That was, I said, just kind of felt like this one was also like just a little too long, a little too one note, but I think it was more interesting and engaging than Orgiastic. Not bad, not bad. I won't say this one because I don't want to get demonetized, and I might even censor it right here. Not because I don't, not that I wouldn't say it, I just don't want to lose that sweet money. Anyway, this one. That's interesting. I don't quite know how to classify that one. Didn't like it as much as K-Stars, but it was also like just as interesting, a little more experimental. Cool, very good. The seeming and the meaning. Yeah, I think this album's problem is just that it's a little too one note. Um, there's this like power pop theme kind of going through it too. Very simple chords, sometimes just two or three. Um, Not a lot of peaks and valleys, not very dynamic is kind of the issue, I think. It's not terrible, but I'm not like judging Stereolab based on this album. It's just like I said, start at the beginning. Doesn't matter. Some people said to skip this one because it's not super impressive or interesting, but screw you, Mellotron. Sounded like Sexy Boy at the end there for a second. By Air, is that the band? Um, Interesting, experimental, a little bit of a change of pace. Couldn't understand what she was saying. um, in Enivrez-vous says that the writer on this is Charles Baudelaire. Is this a poem of his? A painting? A poem? So the vibe that I'm getting, like from tracks like that and like Mellotron, it's like this is a band to look out for. Like I see a lot of potential, but it's just not quite like arranging into anything like mind blowing right now. Um, it's like I said, just kind of one note. A lot of very simple power pop slash shoegazy kind of just strumming of guitar chords with some, distortion on it. And very simple kind of twee female French vocals over it. It's just not quite forming into anything amazing. It's just good. It's just good. That's kind of the most I can say so far. 2 tracks left. They are long. Stomach Worm, 6.5 minutes. song. It was very long, very simple, stayed the same. I don't know if I feel like it was too long or not. I don't know. I wasn't really like bored listening to it. It was just there. It's kind of like a very Sister Ray-esque track where it's just like very leans into everything. Yeah, fine. Last track, Surrealchemist. Cool. I actually dug that outro on that one. Had that nice, like, there's a certain, like, 90s saccharine kind of sound to some of the pop of that era. It was, like, kind of bittersweet, but also, like, has that twee aspect, And I really got that vibe from that last half of that song. So, Peng. It's okay. It's okay. It feels, there's a lot of it that's, like I said, kind of one note. But there are interesting moments. K-Stars, Perversion, Mellotron was somewhat interesting, and then that last track I also dug. But there is, like I said, a lot of sameness. If anything, this makes me more excited to listen to what comes later, because I see a lot of potential here. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening. And it's not boring. Like I said, even though it was samey in one note in some places, it wasn't really boring. It's just not stuff I'll come back to all that much. But that's Peng. Sorry, I don't have a whole lot to say. It was very simple music, but good. So, like I said, we'll be alternating Stereolab and Led Zeppelin. So my next video will be Led Zeppelin 2. Then after that, we'll do transient random noise bursts with announcements, which I guess leans more in a rock direction. We got some krautrock, post-rock notes in there, as well as indie pop. So we'll see how that one goes. But stick around for that. I do follow-ups to these first reactions about a week, 10 days, 2 weeks later, after all the dust has settled and I've kind of formed an opinion about the album in general. I'll kind of follow up and say, if my thoughts have changed and any kind of new ideas and notes on it. So subscribe. Hit the bell if you're that kind of person, if you want to see those videos later. Check out the Patreon, link in the description. Every now and then we do poll albums where I'll have the community on my Discord, also link in the description, kind of pick 4 albums, and then my Patreons get to vote on which one I listen to. And I usually sprinkle these in like every 3 to 5 albums I listen to. And all you need is $1 a month on the Patreon to be able to vote in those polls. So if that's interesting, head on over, check out the Patreon. Like I said, Discord, check that out as well. We're currently in the middle of an album cover bracket elimination tournament. And we're over halfway through that. It's kind of picking up steam, going quicker. So check that out as well. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I will see you later. Godspeed.